On everybody, it's Jet Central coming back with another video, and in this one I've kind of wanted to dive into this topic since last Saturday, since I concluded the insane game which went down in Stillwater, Oklahoma between the Oklahoma Sooners and the Oklahoma State Cowboys. This video is going to be about quarterback prospect Baker Mayfield of the Oklahoma Sooners and his potential fit with the New York Jets. I got to admit, every single time I watch a Baker Mayfield tape, I watch a previously recorded game, I watch a live game, I end the game or I walk away from the TV more impressed. And I don't want to say more sold on him, but more impressed each and every time. And I believe with Baker Mayfield's production mixed with his, what does he bring to the table as far as skill set wise, mixed with his off the field personality, his leadership. I think he has extreme leadership skills, but mixed with overall his off the field, his edginess, his confidence, his almost cockiness. I was just thinking to myself, could he fit with the New York Jets? Could he? Because I'm looking at these quarterback prospects, and it's pretty obvious that the Jets are not going to finish with the top pick. Probably not even a top 3 pick, because you look at the Niners, they haven't won a game. You look at the Browns, they haven't won a game. The Giants have only won 1 game. And right now the Jets have won 4 with a very, very real possibility of winning 5 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're not going to be playing with Winston or Mike Evans. So I'm trying to see the writing on the wall, and I'm trying to just be real with myself and kind of come to grips with, the Jets might not, we might not get our guy in Josh Rosen. I'm completely sold on Rosen. I think he can be great if, he's protected and whatnot. But I think as far as, the New York Jets go, I think we're going to be picking somewhere between 10 and 19. That's where I guess, that's where my bet is on where we're going to be picking, somewhere in that teen range. So I'm looking, and I kind of reflect down to last year's draft, and I see Mitch Trubisky go number 2, and the Bears trade up to get him. I see Patrick Mahomes go 10, the Chiefs trade up and go get him. I see Deshaun Watson go 12, and the Texans trade up to go get him. And I believe that this quarterback class this year is much more talented than last year's. And if Patrick Mahomes is worth the 10th overall pick, he didn't really win that much in college. He had tons of red flags. Mechanics were very poor. Coming from that aerial raid system, Mahomes had a bunch of red flags. I'm looking at this crop of quarterback classes, and I'm seeing, if Patrick Mahomes is worth the 10th overall pick, then Baker Mayfield is worth the 10th overall pick. You know what I'm saying? So I'm sitting here thinking about it. I'm thinking about the Jets' future at quarterback, like I always do. And I'm thinking, and I'm trying to come to grips with, Josh Rosen might not be a Jet, which I will be very disappointed with. But, at the end of the day, it is what it is. And I can't just sulk, and I can't just complain. So I have to start thinking of other ulterior options here. And I'm thinking Josh Allen maybe, but I think he's going top 10 easy. And I start thinking of Mayfield. And it's funny because I'm watching these games, and like I was alluding to before, every time I watch, I'm a little bit more sold, and I'm a little bit more sold. And every time I walk away from the TV, or I turn it off, or I'm done watching the tape, I walk away feeling good. I walk away saying, dang, Baker can play. And then the next game, Baker, he showed out this game, or the very next game. Man, this guy can ball. Every single time I walk away from a Baker Mayfield game, I'm sitting here saying to myself, I'm impressed every game. A little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. So I'm thinking, with the way the draft went last season, with the way the Jets are performing this season, and if we end up in that teen range, don't be surprised if the New York Jets take a flyer on Oklahoma Sooner quarterback Baker Mayfield. I think he has that. I love quarterbacks that play with the underdog mentality, when their backs are up against the wall, or I guess just where everybody doubts them, right? Baker Mayfield, everybody has doubted Baker Mayfield, including myself. I'm not gonna lie. I've known Baker Mayfield for quite a long time. Not on a personal level, but I've known who he is. I remember watching him back at Texas Tech, and I remember watching him and saying, pretty good college quarterback, but I never really thought of this guy's going to be a top 10 pick or a top 15 pick, you know, that thought never really came into my mind. I really try to break down quarterbacks as far as offense, you know, college offense, mechanics, everything, footwork, you know, how do they handle pressure, you know, everything as far as quarterbacks. And I take a lot of pride in it. And, you know, as far as, I guess, projecting them from the college game to the pro game, and I'm looking at Mayfield at Texas Tech, and I never really thought too much of, you know, this guy's a first round pick easy, like I did with Jameis Winston or Teddy Bridgewater or Josh Rosen. Never really thought that about him. But he transfers to Oklahoma, and obviously, you know, he dominates the college football level through the air and on the ground. I mean, realistically, he puts up video game style numbers. I mean, what did he throw? 598 against Oklahoma State this past night. That's insanity. 598 yards. But of course, it's not all about the numbers. You guys know. And you guys know me. I'm not sold on the numbers. I mean, yes, they are good, but you know, the numbers don't really tell the full truth, if you will. You know, you look at a quarterback like Geno Smith, who threw, his senior season, he had like a 70 to 72 completion percentage with like 40 touchdowns to like interceptions, and I think in like the single digits. He comes to the NFL and is basically the exact opposite turnover machine, and he can't complete any passes. So I don't really I look at the numbers and I say, you know, let's see what he has here. But I like to kind of find out, how is he getting these numbers? You know, will it transition? Is it screens for 90 yards every, you know, or is it plays or pass plays within 5 to 10 yards and it's just screen and slant and that's basically all you do? Is that how you're racking up all these yards? But, you know, Baker Mayfield, watching him, he has the numbers through the air. He has the numbers on the ground. I really dig him off the field. I love his attitude. I love his leadership skills, I think that trait is a very underrated thing as far as projecting them to the NFL. You know, you look at a quarterback actually similar in size to Baker Mayfield and Drew Brees, who's a leader to the fullest extent. I mean, Brees is the guy in the middle of the huddle before the game, ramping up his guys, getting them ready to play. I think Mayfield is that same style of quarterback. When Mayfield walks in the building, you look at him and you're saying, yo, I'm trying to win this game for you. You know, like Mayfield wants you to, or he gets players to rally behind him. He's a great leader, I think. I think the Sooners play for him. I would love to play for Mayfield. I think he's just a highly energetic guy who's a gamer. I think he loves the game. I think he feels doubted by national media. I think he feels doubted by older coaches. I think he feels doubted by a lot of people. You know, I love players that have that grittiness, that edginess, that cockiness, the overall confidence he's not afraid to say, hey, look, we're going to walk into Gillette Stadium. We're going to beat your ass and get the W. That's how it is. That's what it's going to be like. And I just like quarterbacks like that. I see, you know, you hear all this stuff with Sam Darnold coming out. Oh, he's waiting to see who's going to have the top pick to see if he declares. Get out of here, man. Like, I'm taking Mayfield all day, who's a guy who would be like, you know what? If the Browns take me, if the winless Browns take me, great. I'm going to love to be a Brown. I'm going to go to war with the Browns every single Sunday. I'm going to play my heart out for him. That's the guy who I want quarterbacking the Jets. Not a guy who doesn't want to come to us because, oh, we're not in a great state right now. Get out of here, man. Like, so anyway, Baker Mayfield and his potential fit with the New York Jets. I would like that if we miss out on Rosen and Allen. But Mayfield to the Jets, very, very, very interesting topic to think about, right? You know, extremely polarizing player. And I just think, you know, with his on-field production, his off-the-field attitude and personality, I think that would go hand in hand with the city of New York, and more importantly with the Jets franchise, because I believe that the Jets, you know, if the Jets were like an attitude, I think, you know, we're that underdog role where everybody counts us out. You know, when was the last time you saw the Jets favored to win anything, really, you know, other than like a game here and there? You know, I feel like Mayfield is that same style. I think he just represents the Jets well. And I think his personality and his on the field, like his magician-like play, being able to escape, being able to do these, crazy-ass plays. I think with the Jets having a lot of holes on the offensive line, I think he would be more suited to make plays being that he's a dual threat, as opposed to a Josh Rosen, who, don't get me wrong, I would still take number 1 overall. I think Rosen could be fantastic. But as far as, the very poor offensive line play, I think Rosen, it would be a very similar situation like Andrew Luck, honestly. Look at the Colts. Very poor job surrounding him with the defense. Very bad job giving him an offensive line, or a competent offensive line. And, I mean, their weapons, they have virtually no running game. Well, when Andrew Luck was playing, and, his weapons, I mean, let's face it, they got lucky with T.Y. Hilton. They didn't bring T.Y. Hilton in and say, you're the number 1 guy, because if they thought that he was a true number 1 wide receiver, he would have went in the 1st or 2nd round, not undrafted. So, let's call it how it is. They got lucky with T.Y. Hilton, and as a result of it, Andrew Luck has been beaten down to the ground. He's injured almost every year, with serious injuries and non-serious injuries. Point is that Luck is always on the ground. His jersey's always dirty. He's always in the medical room. And as far as that goes, Andrew Luck is being, rumored as being trade bait right now because he's so pissed off at the Colts. So I think if Rosen goes to the Jets, I still think he could be fantastic. But I could see a similar situation arising there where we don't give him an offensive line. He's just breathing dirt every game, just laying on the ground because he's getting sacked and hit because he has no time to throw. Whereas I think if Mayfield or even a Josh Allen comes in the building, but more specifically Mayfield, I think he has that mobility, that dual threat aspect to his game to escape, to make plays with his feet, to extend plays, to help out this poor offensive line play, at least in pass protection. So, Mayfield to the Jets. Very, very, very interesting thing to talk about. Obviously, we have tons of time before the draft. But, Mayfield to the Jets. Like I said before, every time I watch a game, I'm a little bit more sold. And we'll see how I feel at the end of the season. But right now, I think I'm going to roll with Baker. I think Baker's a good dude. I would love to play for him. I would love it if he was the quarterback of the Jets. So, let me know down in the comment section. Real quick, I actually want to see this thing. I found it so funny on Twitter. Damn it, I forget who posted it, because I was going to give him a shout out real quick, but I forget who posted it. But the tweet was, it was like if the Jets are picking 13, and we pick Baker Mayfield, the next morning on the newspaper, the Daily News, it'll say a baker's dozen, right? Because 13. I thought that was amazing, and that would have been so cool. So yeah, I thought that whole thing was pretty funny. But anyway, let me know down in the comments section, your thoughts on Baker Mayfield right now, because he does have red flags, right? He is shorter, comes from a spread system. He doesn't really play any good defenses, but Mayfield has an upside. Mayfield has a extremely high upside. And he brings a lot of the things to the table that coaches might like to work with, like a dual threat, like having the confidence. He has a good arm, and he's a playmaker. He makes plays when nothing's there. So let me know down in the comment section about Baker Mayfield and possibly him coming to the New York Jets. And I think it's a fun thing to talk about. So let me know, and go Jets.